and welcome to episode 14 of the Backlash podcast. We are fresh off WrestleMania last night.
Yeah.
We'll give our thoughts at the end of the episode in case you guys tuned in to hear about Raw Deal. So what have you been up to in the Raw Deal world lately?
Well, we just played Alberto Del Rio against Stardust, some virtual classic.
Yeah.
Stardust is annoying.
Dusting off the old
The battle
the battle bags. Yeah, I haven't played Raw Deal in about a month since the arrival of my daughter, but we got in the game before just to dust everything off and Stardust everything off. He's an interesting build. I had really no idea what to do with him until I played a game. I wanted to get a game and probably still want to get one more under my belt before I make any changes. To see which option the opponent chooses for his ability. Typically, what you do is you make your opponent reveal the top 4 cards. If he chooses an action, you get to draw a card. If he chooses a maneuver, you get a fortitude reduction equal to the maneuver. And if it's a reversal, he gets to put in his hand, and you get to kind of commish for another card out of his hand.
And if they're hybrids, you get all the options.
You get all
available.
the options, yeah. So in our game, I think I used my ability probably 7 or 8 times, and every time you had the option to choose maneuver, so you chose maneuver. So going forward, I know that I can potentially rely on a 4 to 6 fortitude reduction the entire game. Again, that's as long as you had the option. You didn't run across a time where you had to choose a reversal. So as a result, that was a huge downfall for me. I ended up running into 2 power slams to end the game. It was a little painful, but...
but with Stardust and options, I want to kind of roll it back a bit and talk about Lackey for the Around the Web. So I got Lackey working on the iPad. You just have to do use another program and kind of find your way into the apps folders.
Yeah.
And you just drag and drop everything that you would get with the Raw Deal Lackey. And I love Lackey. I'm in love with it. I have it on my computer now too after playing it with the iPad. And it's like an amazing database.
Yeah, you were showing us at WrestleMania about the database capabilities, and we played our game, and Alberto Del Rio's abilities that when you randomly discard or remove something. So I was like, hey, can you search random discard on Lackey? And you're like, yes,
absolutely.
I can.
Like, I didn't even think of Taunt the Fans in Alberto for a random discard, so I just discarded a card of my choice. But with Lackey, I mean, you could search for any words in the title, any words in the text. You could search for heel, cheater, fan favorite, unique, multi, and you can separate things from Revolution and the classic card pool. So you're not sifting through like a set you don't want to play. It's a great deck builder. It's not the most user friendly because it's open source. Not open source, but it's a program that you could attach any card game to, so you don't have the automated mechanics. So I mean, if you want to draw a card, draw a card's an easy one, but if you want to randomly discard, you have to double tap where your hand is, choose random on it, and then discard. So I mean, you're adding a lot of time to your game.
It's not as smooth as Hearthstone.
No, no, not even close. But when that's the only option readily available, they're working on the tabletop simulator mod. But I haven't used tabletop simulator because it's $22 Canadian regular price, so I want to wait for that Steam sale.
Yeah.
But for database itself, I recommend it to anybody.
Yeah, just to get it and have it.
And I'm on the couch during WrestleMania because I was working on the Uso deck because I'm building the Usos for the Lackey Tournament 13, now available on TeamCanadaOnline.net.
The best of the worst, or the worst of the best?
It's
the worst of the worst?
I don't know. They're
bad superstars.
So, rather than making a big mess on my desk, which it usually is with my tote. The tote of cards. I'm able to go on this and okay, add 2 of these to Arsenal, add this to Backlash. So right now my Usos have 72 cards in their arsenal. Yeah. And I could filter by maneuver types or by reversals or by cost or by number and be okay, what do I need to get rid of? Yeah. But it's so easy to put a Backlash deck card into your deck, into your arsenal without even realizing it. So then you have to really be careful with what's in there.
I think I would miss the physically touching the cards. But I won't miss sleeving a deck.
That, and it'd be really cool to see what people play outside of our play group. Because I've been having a conversation with an unnamed person, and where I was not complaining, but it's like where face is so dominant.
Yeah, in our area.
Yeah, where it's not the case in other places where it's like a heel and bash dominated. So I'm like, well, I mean, let's go. That's all I have for around the web, so I want to go into some strategy actually. Sure. They're saying, well, like face decks can't play Frankie Ho. And I didn't know why, where it's like they lose that text off of sloppy, very sloppy.
Yeah.
Where once is enough, when it's in play, sloppy, very sloppy ignores reverse from hand, so you can reverse it on overturn.
Oh, okay.
But when you put Frankie Ho in play, that sloppy is our mess.
I didn't think about the overturn part, I just thought about the -5.
And I thought of that when you were shuffling in sloppies in our game just now. That's why I asked. I'm like, don't you have Frankie in play? And another one too is the interview with virtual, with an interview with Abraham Washington. Your opponent's once is enough, so plus 10 fortitude for every copy in play. Well, he's not playing Frankie Ho because he loses that sloppy text, so he's not getting the RMS, so he's only getting one once is enough.
Yeah, at 0.
And of course, the dirty low blow, we brought it up in the Throwback Thursday post before, where it's like that's a guaranteed 2 fortitude.
Pretty well, yeah.
So then that, like if you're playing, I'm working on a virtual legend deck right now, and the legends get step escape, break the hold, unique. So, okay, I'm going to build them heal, because I get those no cells. Okay, I'm going to get strangleholds, because I'm playing that dirty low blow.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, now. And I mean, I haven't played hybrid reversals in a while, and then the power slams just now are proving it's like, okay, like there's still a spot for these because not everyone's running.
One of the big boys.
One of the big boys.
That's pretty heavy in our area, yeah. One of the big boys, and then there's another. Is there not another damage reducer one?
There's that one virtual pre-match card.
Yeah.
And that was a must pack when that came out. But I mean, that one of the big boys where it's like an overturn 6, pick up 1 card.
Yeah.
It's like a high fives.
Yeah.
But better.
But better, exactly.
But it's like I'm finding product endorsements for the reducing superstar value, isn't that big of a deal. Like if you're worried about it, run like Distractingly Divalicious. Maybe not that, but like overrated superstars. It's like, okay, you want to go first? Well, it's like, okay, take a choice. And just Showtime. Because there's not many people running backstage shenanigans anymore. Yeah. And
Showtime kind of died in our area for a while. I think Ryan played it in the last tournament. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I forget why it disappeared, whether people were just playing the new Hold On, It's Not Time to Show, or...
how I feel is it was backstage shenanigans.
Yeah.
Like that was like, okay, you just skip your first turn.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Rather than reveal my hand and overturn too, it's like, revealing that hand these days is a huge drawback. But so I'm playing around with heal decks a little more after that conversation. I'm like, okay. And like, interview with Mean Gene Okerlund. You were playing that in your Big E deck.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a great face card, but it's like, how helpful was it really?
Yeah, right. Like, you can play the non-responsive turn up the heats, but then your opponent can restrict in your first one, sidewalk slam your second, and that's 2 turns right away. So you get 1 maybe through. It's like,
and heal as well. I mean, they're getting those get the F outs, but like we've said previously, it's a little easier to get that early fortitude now. And then heal with dirty low blow, you get the 2. Well, I mean, how much harder is it with a volley this or a revo or an elbow? You get that other 2 fortitude or flawless transition into a scoop slam. Because who wants to discard 4 and then play 3 reverses?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's Lackey.
Yeah, Lackey. back from strategy to Lackey to around the web. Yeah.
But honestly, I highly recommend it to anybody. I've got a good grasp on it for the iPad and getting it going. I know Mitch has there's a good tutorial on TeamCanadaOnline.net. I mean, I think Mitch put Lackey together, current Raw Deal World Champion. So check that out, or honestly, like, go to the Discord or message on TCO, or even shoot me a message. Like, I don't mind at all. Or it's like, all right, cool. Like, there's 20 people signed up for this next tournament.
Yeah.
And it's like people all over the world. We got Singapore in there. I think there's one guy from Chile in there. You know, we got Canadians in there.
One thing we should mention from around the web is Keith was doing his live videos at the tournament.
Oh, at the Revolution.
Yeah, it was he posted the Revo tournament. I'm assuming it was the full thing. I only tuned in for about 20 minutes, but the whole tournament was 2 hours. And then they did a virtual classic tournament afterwards, and I skimmed through the slider to see what matchups there were and see what people were playing. I didn't have enough time to watch all that because I wanted to squeeze in NXT TakeOver before I came over for Mania. So, but that is on Facebook in the Raw Deal group, so you can find it there. And we recorded it live, so it's saved there. So
I'll put a link in the show notes because I want to watch that too. It's just WrestleMania weekend, so busy.
Yeah. I still really want to get into Revo because it's so fast paced.
I do too, but yeah, it's been difficult. I mean, you just had a baby, and just so busy with it. My work schedule doesn't.
And also, like, the biggest thing for me is that I've printed all the virtual stuff that I want, and I have Revo 1 and Revo 2, but I have a huge hole where I don't have anything of Revolution 3. I bought one pack, and then I did a few TCO trades, like, years back when I was like, hey, throw in some Revo 3 commons and uncommons. So I had like a handful of them, but it's like Revolution Pump Kick. I don't own any of those, and a few decks run it, and you're like, oh, okay. So this is why all my decks look exactly the same, because I only have 2 sets to work with.
Well, it's so easy to print off proxies now. I think for our area, but even like you take an old Google Doc of the virtual stuff, even go on the Raw Deal SG Facebook page where he has every Revolution card posted on there.
Yeah.
And you just copy it, paste it into the existing not Google Docs, sorry, the Microsoft Word document. Just replace cards. And that's what Ryan in our play group does, where he's just like...
Yeah. For me, it's just Word is so slow when dealing with the big images, so... Yeah. It's like...
But I have Photoshop. I don't mind helping out.
Saving and downloading, but time and money, and then getting someone else to play Revo.
Oh, money's not bad. I mean, I could print off a full 20-card Backlash deck, 60-card Arsenal, and it works out to be like $4.50 in color.
Yeah, but I want the whole Revo 3 set.
Well,
3 times, right? At least 3 times. That's just one play set, right? Which is why I appreciate virtual being unique cards for the most part. Is that you really only need 1, maybe 2 or 3 if you're going to build multiple decks. But when they get to be non-unique cards, suddenly you need to print off 3 sets of them.
But I mean,
you're one deck.
But you're paying that money. But I mean, look how much time you're saving on playing that format.
Yeah.
So it's like worth that. And honestly, I mean, it's easy to complain about, oh, it costs so much to print off cards, but look what we were paying for booster boxes.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that the entire set would be the cost of a booster box. And you get everything you want. You can even make your own hot pack and surprise yourself. Yeah.
Get those foils.
Yeah.
Anything else about Virtual or Revolution you want to talk about?
No, off the top of my head. Again, I haven't really played it. I have that gap of Revo 3. I have a few decks built that we can bust out sometime, but I think they're probably missing some key cards. So
I have a Revolution Cena deck built with just all the classic Revo stuff.
Yeah.
But he uses his storyline where he gets, I think, reduced means are cheaper. It's been so long. I know it's still sleeves, so I'll throw it in my battle bag over there and carry it around. That's all I like. With printing, you know, I've started printing off proxies for like essential cards like Revolution of the Mind, Divine. So the hardest part now for me building decks is finding cards to back it with. Yeah. And now I have to go get more sleeves.
Yeah. Well, that's what I've been using some of my really old Revo cards for. It's like backing classic cards. Because they have the WWE logo. Like, I have like a couple dozen of like the hybrid reversals, right, from Revo 1. Because I think we all went a little crazy and bought a couple boxes. But yeah, so I use those. I'm like, hey, WWE logo.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think of that. I have 2 boxes like that of Revolution cards.
Until we convert, might as well use them for something.
You can learn a thing or two on this podcast.
Yeah. Anything else that we wanted to touch on with Del Rio and Stardust? Don't think so.
There was something. I can't remember.
We did have... The nice thing about Discord was that it's a live chat, right? So we had a question, we're like, how does this interact? And you just throw it up there, and there was someone online that was able to answer right away. And
well, how many times during a tournament we would refer to the FAQ, refer to TCO?
Yeah, and be like, oh man, how can we reach Creed or someone to ask them a rules question? It's like, okay, now Discord is there, there's multiple users. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong, but in any... Right, like it can be a tiebreaker for the time being, and then you post a TCO later if no one knows the answer. So
the problem with Discord has been making me lazy.
Yeah.
To look up questions. like Nick just put here because I just asked a question and he goes, random thought: is it just me or does anyone else think anytime a question like this comes up that if you were a new player right now? Oh no, there's some words I can't say. You want to just go to the Discord.
Go to the Discord and read it yourself.
I didn't read it all first. What's next, Scott?
The topic of the podcast. So the last pay-per-view we were at Matty's place, and he doesn't play Raw Deal anymore, but he's like, oh, I found my 3 Raw Deal decks that I kept, and I was like, hey, that would be kind of a neat podcast idea. Is that if we were to quit Raw Deal and we were only allowed to keep 3 decks, who would you keep? And we talked about that for a few minutes. So I was like, okay, let's do it. So do you want to do 3 at a time or 1 at a time? Or?
Go 1 at a time. I mean, I had a difficult time with this because like we were just talking beforehand where it's like, you know, what's your criteria for keeping a deck?
Yeah.
For me, I'd want to keep something that's fun, that I enjoy playing, not that kind of that competitive edge. But then if everyone's keeping 3 decks and some are keeping competitive decks where you're keeping fun decks, you're like, why am I even
playing? I keep 1 competitive, 1 fun deck, and 1 classic deck?
So I'll open up with my first one. It's a straight up classic deck, and it's Rene Dupree. I mean, let's go to that fun competitive where, like I said in the very first episode, like this was my standout deck, I think, of my life at the time, where it's like, you know, top seed at the Canadian qualifier, losing to some bad mistakes after Swiss, but it's like, you know, it's an unusual deck. You're only having 1 of every card, but
it allows for creativity.
Yeah, absolutely. And I performed well. I have good memories. I'm sure you guys got to know all of his cards because of how long I played this deck. But yeah, that's the very first thing that comes to mind for me. And it goes away from the whole, hey, let's keep a fun deck. Yeah. Of a competitive deck.
For me, my 1 deck I would keep would be my first deck, Chris Jericho. He has a huge card pool, and just the versatility. You can build him raw. My most recent build was actually SmackDown Chris Jericho that won a classic tournament. So you can go raw or SmackDown. You can go chain. You can go uniques. You can really do whatever you want with him. He's pretty versatile. His ability isn't super strong, but once you get happy you're here, happy you're gone, and would you please shut the hell up, and you're getting 2 random discards a turn, that's powerful. So, Chris Jericho is my first deck.
So fond memories.
Yeah, right? And that's what got me into this card game as well, right? So I still have that Saint Face card, and even though he's come out with 3 or 4 more, you've made a proxy or 2 of them, and then he has Throwback, Highlight of the Night, and a few different other iterations that he's got in the game of Raw Deal, but I would keep Chris Jericho.
But you're like going back to basics with that, where it's a simple superstar ability, and then his card pool kind of changes it up, but it doesn't make it like obnoxious.
Super confusing right out of the gate.
But even like if your opponents, so say we're just playing with these decks that we have, or if I'm going up against a Chris Jericho, it's like, okay, you know, it's manageable to play against to start with, but once he starts getting that support in play, it becomes more of a hurdle, where you're seeing with a lot of virtual stuff, it's harder for new players to get into because these abilities where it's like you pair them up against a Chris Jericho right away, and you're like,
why can't this be that easy?
Yeah, where it's like if they were to make Chris Jericho today, it's like discard a card, your opponent randomly discards 2.
Yeah.
And imagine that, like right away, like that's.
And then he would probably shuffle one card or put a random card from his hand from his discard pile on the bottom. And
Another one of mine is it's a virtual deck that I built. There's one match on YouTube, and it was the Dudley family in virtual.
Yeah.
The whole idea with this is like their table interacts with now strikes, high risks, and trademark finishers. Mm-hmm. So I was just dirty low blowing people through tables. I think I had stack plexes in there. And then, like, I'm going to put you through... Oh, no, they are considered grapples for your card effects. So, like, I'm running the old, I'm going to put you through the ring. Yeah. It doubles the damage. So, the whole thing... the whole thing.
Dirty low through a table.
And kicks. Throwback kicks. So, it's like, here's my 0 for 3 multi. I'm going to kick you through a bunch of tables. And it's just... It was just neat. It's something different. You have a little bit of fun with it. You know, their card support's good, like they're getting extra damage on cards. The Dudleys are just hilarious. I mean, now they're Hall of Famers. This is fun. I had a fun time building it because, you know, tables are tough to deal with. The table's tough to deal with because it's an ace. Yeah. I mean, if you're building your deck around that activated card effect, well, don't try. Here's my classic teamwork from Backlash. Here's my unscrupulous SOB, where it's like, so their first table ace can't be reversed. Yeah. So you're getting that +6 or +8 damage right away. So, like, here's my 10 damage, dirty low blow, and let's go from there. I had a lot of fun with them. I have them in pieces still, but like with this conversation, it makes me just want to have them in reserve and just kind of have some fun with it. Kick people in the balls through tables. My number 2, my 1 and 2 were like no-brainers for me. It's like second deck, Kane. Again, I think it has to do a lot with nostalgia. That's where I started with Chris Jericho and Kane. But again, simple ability. Your opponent overturns one before you draw a segment. But you can leave it as that, or you can pair it with like Hell in a Cell or Inferno Match to make it a little more competitive and nasty. No Way Out, right, to really get that burn going. So he's a little bit of... I don't know if I would pick Kane over Big Freakin' Machine, because BFM was kind of where I had my breakout for Raw Deal and started seeing success in the game, but it's pretty easy when you get guaranteed fortitude against most superstars to win a game like that. But I don't know whether Kane or BFM, but they come together, right? Well, yeah, but that too, where, I mean, I don't think the decks would differ too much. Yeah. Where you just swap the face card.
Yeah. That is one probably throwback that you could just swap the face card and almost have an identical deck.
Because I envision a Kane deck, because I built them a handful of times when we were revisiting Classic, and it was nasty with those Journey into Darkness. Where, like, you know, you're running with Judo Chokes. So if you're doing like a Hell in a Cell, No Way Out, if I'm switching it to BFM, I'm hoping to draw into 2 Judo Chokes, and I'm going to play those under my ability. Yeah. And it's like, okay, now you're overturning 3 a turn. Yeah. So...
Have fun with that.
And like looking at Chris Jericho, where his remake, the Highlight of the Night, that doesn't work. That face card swap. Where Kane's a good fit. Plus you get the different looks with the face cards. You get the Kane with the cut off mask. Or you get the old full mask Kane. The Kane, he was so annoying to play against when we were starting. Remember we played Big Freakin' Machine when he first came out. And I tried to draw it at beating the odds. Yeah. Go. I remember a buddy of mine was playing Jeff Hardy. And so he had Ride the Barricade. No, his 0 for 3. That's Suicide.
That's Suicide, yeah. So like we would rush to I would rush to get a maneuver that couldn't be reversed by that Suicide, because his whole deck was like that Suicide into Ride the Turnbuckle, because he'd have a couple of I'm Always on Top to make them -6. So you get the 0 for 3 reversal into the 8 for 12 that cannot be reversed. So like my goal was to like get the Beating the Odds out to reverse the Barricade before I played them, and then like the Beating the Odds got protected with BFM's ability to get around his. Oh, it was such a mess. But like we played the matchup like 100 times, and it's just like, oh wait, who can get their little thing going first? And it's like, okay, yeah, fun times, fun memories of classic.
I miss classics
Yeah.
sometimes. Like that adventurous new set, learning a new thing phase. But being in like high school at the same time.
Yeah, and actually having time and not having to go to a job every day. And
I daydream, write notes of Raw Deal at work. I just can't use Lackey while I'm there.
Yeah.
And then you brought up this one where I'm like, man, I can't think of any. You're like, oh, I'm surprised you're not saying Edge or Christian or Edge and Christian. So I'll just lumping them all together.
Yeah.
I mean, I love those guys. I still have from the opening ceremonies at WrestleMania 17 or 18 they were in Toronto.
18 they were in Toronto.
18 where we were like outside the arena at the barricade and there's Edge and Lita doing the ribbon cutting ceremony. I'm like, oh, I got the ribbon from Edge. That fell on the ground.
Yeah.
And but it's like, if I'm going to pick one of the three, it's Edge and Christian. Because they're so unique where it's like, whenever it's a forced discard from hand or from a reversal or a maneuver, you draw instead. So it's like there's like head vice where you discard a card from Backlash deck. So it's like, okay, I draw instead. Oh my god, what's the one heat maneuver? Neck torque.
You draw your hand.
10 for 20 heat card when played, discard your hand. I run one in my deck right now. It's just draw your hand. Do you think you know me? I mean, you draw 2 off of it.
This is going over fast. You draw 2 off it. Yeah, they're nasty.
Oh,
I hate playing against them.
But you have to. But they errated them where you have to reveal the cards.
Yeah.
So like nowhere fast, you have to reveal 2 non-hybrids. Which isn't that big of a deal, but you kind of.
And then you always have the same 2 cards for the
Yeah.
most part, right? You're like, oh, I discarded this because you don't actually have to discard them, right? So.
And in a virtual, they got a card that lets them pack Reeking of Awesomeness, which was a tag only card in the tag team format. So it's like 15 fortitude and it just big plunging, like increasing my opponent's fortitude on his reversals and it's Reeking of Awesomeness. They get that. And virtual as well. They got a card that reduces the costs on their chairs. I think just their chairs by 6. So I run Mark Eaton's Timekeeper's chair because I can play it at 0.
Yeah.
And then I get it. I'm plunging my opponent again, and I'm reducing the costs, and then throwing chair shots at their fortitude.
Bing bong. Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And they're a unique card pool with like your non-specifics that you're running. Like Cranial Crunch. My opponent looks at my hand, discards 1 card. I'm like, no, I'm gonna draw a card instead.
They get all excited. Oh, I guess I can look at his hand and rip a card. No. You draw.
But like Christian in virtual, even Christian in classic was good because your opponent's not drawing off revos.
Yeah.
They're not drawing off managers. It kind of ends there.
Yeah. That are pretty well consistently played in a deck. Yeah. My third, again, riding that nostalgia train, probably William Regal. The guy I played top 32 at the Canadian qualifier way back in Divas era. And again, I think it's for versatility, right? Like his ability, you can go face, you can go heel, it supports both. You can go the clutch apply route or punches or like anything. His backstage, or not his backstage, but like his virtual cards really changed up. Gave him a little bit of a boost to make his 6-piece permanent,
but he got that pre-match card in classic, like the proper planning against his poor performance, and that just blew him up.
Yeah, because he can search for a card for his ability for free. He draws a card for his turn for free. He can pick up shoot headlocks or I can't be reading this right. It's for low costs. It's. And then rules are meant to be broken, just fueled him even further. He's like, you're never getting an action through against him, basically. So he can just get 2 cards every turn. It's pretty nasty, but nostalgia. My other top 2 are probably like Rock or Undertaker, Premier. Like Premier big sets, they get a little more versatility, more card pools, but I don't like Brahma Bull, so I don't want to force my opponent to sit through that.
And all 3 of your superstars are classic. Is there a virtual superstar if you had to pick one? like right now with how you've played, or even just reading, where it's like this would be...
I had a lot of fun with Big E. I think like I went 0-5 with him, but I think that was a little bit of bad luck on my part or misplays.
And no play testing.
Yeah, that too. No play testing for him. And Fandango I'm really liking a lot. Those are probably the two. Big E and Fandango.
Mm.
Yeah.
Those are they're not the main eventers like
Yeah.
the list of superstars.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess
the
William
premier guys.
Regal
Yeah.
wasn't-
Yeah. But those are my three.
All right, so that's that talk. We don't really have a card comparison this week.
Yeah, not this week. We're busy with Mania and NXT and Barry Wrestling.
Barry Wrestling.
Those were a Smash show a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
It was fun. I was surprised how good that audio came across in the car one, the last episode.
Yeah.
So it's promising for future ideas.
Yeah, if we can't get together, it gets more and more complicated as life goes on, but we'll continue to make it work. We got 14 episodes so far, so.
I was listening to Post Wrestling, like John Pollock and Wai Ting, and their WrestleMania review podcast. They're recording it from the backseat of their car in the parking lot of the arena.
Yeah.
Right after the show.
Right after the show, yeah.
So you want to talk about Mania a bit?
Sure.
Do you have any more audio you want to talk about?
Not really, no. We covered all my notes here. Mania, I really enjoyed for the most part. There were a lot of negative stuff on Facebook and Twitter. I think people just need something to nitpick at, but I enjoyed it. I thought the Braun Strowman segment was pretty funny, where he picked the kid out of the audience. My only nitpick with that is, like, if we knew it was a kid, it probably should have been earlier in the card. Saving it for that late in the show, everyone was expecting a big return, like Samoa Joe or someone, right? Whoever. We all had our predictions in the room, but we were expecting something big, and to like have it be a kid, I was like, yeah. But I mean, it was pretty funny. To be that kid would be pretty awesome. Be a tag champ with Braun Strowman, even if it was for one night. Like,
youngest champ in history.
Right? Yeah. Take that, Randy Orton. Like,
I thought it was one of the better WrestleManias in a long time.
like since X7.
Yeah.
I remember last year it was a really long show, and even 2 years prior when we watched it at your place and we were like, oh, it's 11 o'clock, and like The Rock was just coming out. Like this time we were all mentally prepared. Like it's going to midnight.
Yeah.
We know it's going to midnight, so that helped a lot because we're like, we know it's not ending early.
My favorite match of the night. Oh, it's a tie, but they both involve women, like the female wrestlers, and that Charlotte Asuka match was really good. Charlotte's entrance, like, it was very fitting,
glorious.
and the Ronda Rousey Kurt Angle against the Helmsleys.
Yeah, that was the match I was least looking forward to. I'm like, I'm done with Triple H at WrestleMania, but I think that match was put together great. It made Ronda look great, and it didn't make Triple H look bad, which is always good.
No, and Kurt Angle got more offense on Triple H than the other way around.
Yeah.
And it was good, but they weren't the focus of it. We got that, we got the ankle locks, we got the Olympic slams. Like, we got all those, except the sledgehammer. I mean, you got everything you'd want to see from those guys.
Exactly, yeah. So I really enjoyed that match. That was probably my favorite match. I mean, it was entertaining. It's like they started with a triple threat, which was a pretty good wrestling match. But I mean, you've got to do something when you have a 6-hour show. Like, that's a lot of pure wrestling to put together and keep people energized in a 6-hour show, right? Like, if you want a good wrestling, watch NXT. It's 2.5 hours of solid good wrestling, like from start to beginning. But to do that for 6 hours, like, that's a huge task. And to ask the audience to stay alive for 6 hours, that's a huge task.
And you gotta, like, I look at WrestleMania now where it isn't exactly for the hardcore fans anymore. I mean, it's for... They're bringing in the casual viewers. They want to bring in that mainstream audience.
Like, all the wives and girlfriends were there, and they had a great time.
Yeah.
Because they're like, you read the primer that you posted on our Facebook page, and like everyone's up to date, and it was an entertaining show.
I thought it was great, but I go into it now the last few years being like, okay, this isn't for
us.
Yeah, it's they're kind of toning it down. Like, you look at the SmackDown tag match You know, the Usos got their first WrestleMania on card show. The match was like 8 minutes, and they didn't get to show off New Day and the Usos. But I mean, they've had the last year and a half to do that.
Yeah.
You know, this is...
We know they're capable of 5-star matches.
And but everyone, you know, you could be like, but it's WrestleMania, but it's like, it's different.
It's entertainment.
Yeah.
Wrestling entertainment.
Even you look at like Undertaker Cena, I thought it was a great match. Undertaker's like, you want to call me out?
Yeah.
This is why you don't call me out.
Yeah.
And it was great, and he looked good. Like, you know, he didn't look like
he looked in shape. I said the hair made him look a little younger. When he was shaved, he looked really old and aged.
But he looked better than he did in the match against Roman last year. Like, he looked, you know, more into it. Cena was great. Cena doesn't need a win on the Undertaker, and going back to the whole casual audience thing there, you know, the Undertaker's entrance was longer than the match. I'd rather see Undertaker's entrance than the Undertaker match.
That's what everyone wanted, so.
It was good. I mean, I didn't want to cover negatives. I was a little disappointed in Asuka losing.
But, yeah, that was really surprising. But, I mean, every streak comes to an end. So.
But Sarah had pointed out to me where it's like, she didn't say humble, but it humbles Asuka. Asuka was this undefeated streak, you know, doing whatever she wants and not really respecting anyone. Where now that Charlotte's beat her, she's like, they hugged at the end. Like, it was that mutual respect angle, and you didn't get to see that with Asuka before, because she's just this dominant force.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a good take on that character for some development. AJ Nakamura, I mean, it wasn't what they did in New Japan a few years ago, but with what happened at the end of it, they're going to have more matches.
Yeah, exactly, and they'll have more time to showcase again their wrestling skills on the 3-hour card, where they can put on a 30-minute match. Yeah, and like be a sixth of the show, and that's fine. Everyone's okay with that.
I really thought they were going to end WrestleMania though.
Yeah, you lost a loony.
I lost a loony. $1 Canadian.
Yeah, I didn't mind the heel turn at all. Because there were like 3 face versus face matches: the Cruiserweight, Asuka, Charlotte, and AJ Nakamura. So to have the heel turn at the end of the third one was kind of neat. Yeah,
and it was fun.
Yeah,
I had a good time.
Enjoyed it.
And the group of us there were in good spirits as well.
Yeah, there wasn't a negative Nelly really in the crowd, so we all enjoyed it.
It's that atmosphere that sets it, though. Where if you have a bunch of people, like years ago...
It's like the crowd, right? Yeah. Like the crowd in the Roman Brock match. Like, they weren't into it, so it kind of took away from the match and what it was trying to do. But that's on the crowd, right? Like,
it's good. I recommend anyone checks it out.
Best
over a week.
Best WWE pay-per-view in a while. I enjoyed NXT better, but I always enjoy NXT pay-per-views.
I caught the tag match for NXT. I thought that was great. Yeah. Because I had Barry wrestling beforehand, and then we went home, and then we watched the Cody Rhodes, caught the Ring of Honor show, so I caught it from about the intermission point. So we got 4 matches. Cody against Kenny Omega was great storytelling. It's a athletic match. Like, everyone harps on Cody for not being, he's like a C grade wrestler kind of thing. But no, it was good. It was a story driven match. The main event, Dalton Castle, Marty Scurll, that was disappointing for what it was, because those 2 guys are really good. It just didn't perform. Yeah. So they should have flipped those matches, end with Coney Kenny, because that's why everybody... Yeah. There was a lot of people there. It was Ring of Honor's biggest live crowd. They had over 6,000 people. Mania had 78,000. But it's like...
Same as with like Kenny and Jericho, right? Like a lot of people tuned in just for that match, especially the North American people that don't really follow New Japan, but know of these Canadian athletes.
Well, you and Cam came over just to check that out, because it's like, okay... Who's this? And then you guys stayed to watch the main event as well.
Which I only know because he was the main event last 2 years in a row or so, right? So, great matches all around, but yeah. Fun times. So, wrap her up for episode 14 of the Backlash podcast. Find us on Facebook, Twitter at Backlash Pod. Where else are we? I can never remember the...
BacklashPod.prowords.com. That's it. Get your proxies there.
And then Throwdown Thursday we may not do this week. We've had kinks on uploading it to our podcast stream,
it's
so
not working
we might
out.
give it one more go and see if we can get it going, but don't expect it this week. If you do, it's a surprise and we get it working. Yay, whatever.
But I'll still post the virtual, not the virtual, the throwback comparisons.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun to see everyone engaged in the conversation.
Exactly. Yeah. So I look forward to it on Thursdays. Alrighty, see you at episode 15.